Before people blast me in the comments saying, "Oh, why would you say this?" Blah, 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 just listen. I'm glad we got something. We got the Rising of the Shield Hero relive the animation, and we're getting a lot of mobile games that aren't exactly like the 3D rendered, but they're at least mobile games and games related of the Isekai element. I'm just glad we're getting some. My problem with it is we're not getting any 3D rendered stuff. See, my favorite type of game to play are basically JRPGs and turn-based. I usually play them by myself, but I kind of want to get into streaming with them, but that's the maybe. I don't know too much yet. Maybe it just depends on my feeling with JRPGs at the time, or in the future, I mean. You see, there's a recent anime that just blew everything out of the storm in water, and it's getting a 3D rendered story game. That would be the Demon Slayer game. It is getting a 3D rendered. It looks very beautiful, and it's not a fighting game. It's a story mode type of game. The biggest problem that I do have with it, though, is 3D anime games can only really be made if they're super popular. Like, one example is the Naruto games. Naruto, big three, big shonen, big anime throughout of all time, has gotten many 3D rendered games. So let's talk about a isekai show that recently got a game, and it's kind of 3D, sorry. It kind of is 3D rendered, but has a lot of visual novel aspects to it. ReZero starting life in another world, the prophecy of the throne. You see, it has some 3D rendered bits here, but from what I believe, I haven't played it yet, but it's basically mostly visual novel-esque. It's not a JRPG style. I kind of think it's like maybe like a chess game, or like kind of like a Fire Emblem. I think it has like a lot of Fire Emblem feels to it. But the reason why 3D rendered games wouldn't be good in an isekai is because usually most JRPGs, turn-based, they all stem from the ground up. So what I mean is, like, if you look at the series called, let's talk about Tales of. Basically, Tales of Zestiria and Tales of Bestiria, because those are the ones that I have played or at least watched. We could also talk about Final Fantasy 15 or Final Fantasy 15 Windows Edition or Definitive Edition. I don't know why it's called that, but it is. They're usually from the ground up. So what we can see is, like, some of the models are basically reused and just recolored. That's another big reason why I don't think a lot of the isekai shows would be good as a 3D rendered game, is because a lot of the enemies would be reused. There are ways you could use it, of course, reuse it, and it makes sense. But since they usually go from the ground up, they can make monsters here and there, and even though it's the same thing most of the time, what I mean by that is when every game that's made from another game, they have basically the same enemies, the same animations, and all that. It still is from the ground up because the world setting, building, and all that is all connected somehow from the ground up. There are some games out there, they are pretty popular, that aren't from the ground up, but they come from an anime. That is isekai and not isekai. Me personally, the majority of fans would say Sword Art Online is an isekai game, or isekai anime, but a lot of people would not say it's an isekai anime because it still comes from the world and it's just talking about a game world. Me personally, since it's another world, but also it's a game world, to me, it's still an isekai. One big problem that's glaring in this situation is that some isekai, I don't know on the top of my head, I would put them in the video. I mean, I will put them in the video or in the description if I find some, but they give ability after ability after ability after ability, or magical skill after magical skill after magical skill. To make a 100% faithful adaptation would be too much for some shows, because if a show has like gravity magic, and if gravity magic's implemented, or blah blah blah, blah, and so many of these spells, fire this, level 1, fire this, level tier 5 or whatever, it would just get too damn repetitive with so many things going on in the situation. You know, it would have to be very simplified if they were ever going to make even a game of it. You know, Rising of the Shield Hero Relive the Animation got away with it a little bit because a lot of the shields it doesn't show. I don't believe. I haven't played in a while, and the footage you're about to see is something I played recently. But from what I can remember of the Rising of the Shield Hero Relive the Animation, you don't see a majority of the shields. So, you just say what shield you're using. And another thing, that one's in 2D, and a lot of there's a lot of things ripped from the animation, legitimately. So I'm just remembering playing that game. It's so funny, man. I really like that game. I should be playing it more. I don't know why I haven't. Also, another way to get your fans very mad, or people who like Isekai very mad, is just to say it's just basically a fantasy show, but with the element of a guy comes from another world. I mean, really, if you want to play games that you feel like you're in another world, play Final Fantasy. A majority of those games, you'll definitely feel like you're in the world. The Tales of game, I would say, definitely some of the newer ones with the newer 3D models, like Tales of Zestiria, you would definitely feel like you're a part of that game. You would feel like you're literally the main character. That's how I felt when I played the game. Maybe it's because that guy, what's his name? Oh, I completely forget. Oh, the main character's name. I'll have it up there somewhere. But he has brown hair, short brown hair with brown eyes, and I also have short brown hair and brown eyes. So maybe it's just a little bit more special to me because I actually feel like I'm that character. But that game is very good. I know a lot of people would really like to play that game. A lot of people would really feel like they are in an isekai because they'll feel like they're the main character. Like, how a main character should be. It's like a self-insert character. I know I really don't have much justice when I say why most isekai won't ever get a 3D rendered, or however I title this video. The thing is, I do hope a lot of these isekai that I do love, well, I guess I could say ReZero, but that has mostly visual novels, so it technically still got a game. And Rising of the Shield Hero still got a game, but it's in like completely 2D. I do hope we get a 3D action adventure JRPG turn-based sometime soon off of an isekai. It would be so much of a blessing. I really want it. Maybe 3D's long gone in the past, and maybe all we should care about is two-dimensional 2D waifus, not two-dimensional 3D rendered characters. Yes, I know I'm using the lingo probably a little wrong, but I know what I really want is another Seraph of the Endgame that doesn't suck. But I mean, what I really want, really truly do want, is a Rising of the Shield Hero game in 3D where I am the Shield Hero, and it fucking sucks, because in the majority of that gameplay you will just defend, and I know that's the whole point of the Shield Hero, but I'm going through the game and I have to use the Rage Shield or just counter attack 99% of the time because I just cannot attack. The only way to attack is counter attack. So the only way I can attack is with the other people. Anyways, I do have a dream to make a 3D rendered Rising of the Shield Hero game, but funding for video games takes a lot more than funding for an anime. I did say I would promise funding the second season of Seraph the End if I ever did win the lottery, or if I ever did get a lot of money with a business going. I do plan on doing that, but to do a Rising of the Shield Hero anime, I would have to make my money back, or I would have to donate so much that I really do not care. So wish me luck, and I hope all my stocks on the Robinhood app that I have currently going to change over again soon. You guys don't care about that, but let's hope they all 1,000-fold, and I make a lot of money, and the economy isn't ruined, though. Let's just hope for that. Anyways, guys, if you have any comments and suggestions of whatever you think would be good as an isekai game, or how they could implement it, or If you also are like me and you believe that most games won't ever get a 3D rendered of it, please tell me that as well below. Have a great day or night wherever you live, and remember, stay safe or whatever. I don't care. Do whatever you want. I live in America. This is a free country.